everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about something I've been struggling with for a little while. I often talk about mental health here on my channel, and today I wanted to talk about what happens when you no longer find joy in creating art. Before I get into that though, I do want to quickly talk about the supplies I'm using here. I was actually gifted the Denise Soden watercolor palette by Vinci. I was gifted it by a lovely, lovely person who watches my videos and always takes the time to comment the sweetest things. So Michael, thank you so much for sending me this palette, and I appreciate you. The colors are absolutely gorgeous, and Denise is such an amazing watercolorist, so I'm so happy I got to try these, and I highly recommend them. They are amazing. I'm also using a Strathmore mixed media illustration board. I don't think I can ever go back to regular watercolor paper ever again after using these. And I also use a couple Prismacolor color pencils as well. If you would like me to talk about any of those supplies more in depth, like the paint palette or the illustration boards, I'd be happy to make videos on those in the future, so just let me know. Alright, so let's talk about mental health. I have been going through it, as I know many other people have this past year. And I make these videos, one, so I can explode my feelings into the void that is the internet. But I also like to make these because I always get people commenting on my videos and saying that what I talk about helps them in some way. So that is what's keeping me going, and honestly, that is the only reason I make videos anymore. So here I am. I think I am experiencing what I'm calling a quarter-life crisis. I am 25 years old, and my entire life has just changed so much in the past year that it's left me feeling like I don't know who I am, and I don't know what I want to be, and I don't know what I want out of life. I'm just feeling very kind of lost, I guess, and lost in my identity and how I perceive myself. And with all that, I found that I kind of lost the ability to enjoy making art. In all of 2020, I think I completed, 3 paintings, and like, that was it. I could not paint or draw or anything. I would sit down and I would try, and I would have work that I needed to do, and I just could not. And a lot of that is because 2020 was just so awful in general, but a big part of it was I was struggling with making art my main profession. And if you're watching this because you're struggling with finding joy in art, this may not apply to you. But for me, I had to do some soul searching, and I kind of had to look and discover why I couldn't enjoy art. Like, what is it that's making me feel like this? And for me, it was the concept of only making art for the sake of commodifying it and selling it to other people. For quite a while, that has been the only reason I've created art. I did it because I'm a professional artist, and it was the only way that I made money. I'm a self-employed freelancer, so this is kind of the only thing that I do is art. At the same time, so much of my identity and my perception of myself is tied up in the art I create. The only reason I started creating art in the first place was as a coping mechanism to cope with growing up with a chronic illness and not having a lot of friends. And I found art as an escape, and I fell in love with it, and it was something that I did all the time, something that I loved, and something that helped me feel better. Whenever I had a bad day or whenever I was feeling like extremely sick, whenever I was in the hospital, I would draw in paint and color, and it would always help me feel better. And I think we're kind of raised with this idea, or at least I was, that you should turn your passion into your profession. I grew up with the phrase, if you work at something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I kind of took that to heart. And I decided pretty early on that I wanted to be a professional artist, and I wanted to make art for a living. So I worked really hard on that, and a big part of that was also art is something that I could have done while being sick. So I added that into my identity. I was someone who created art, and at the same time I was someone who had to rely on art not only for a coping mechanism, but eventually for money too, because I did become a professional artist and I do make money through art. But the longer that I did it, the more I came to realize that I was only making art for other people and only for the sake of selling it. And once I started realizing that, it completely sucked the joy out of creating art at all. It kind of reached a head last year, compounded with everything else going on, that I couldn't make art, I couldn't work, I couldn't make art, I couldn't even make art to sell anymore. I couldn't do it. I could not do it at all. Just nope. Brain block, nope. The way I see it, I was kind of in this vicious cycle where I found my identity through art. Because of that, I started to make money with art. Because of that, I would create art to make money. Because of that, art would become less fun. And then because of that, I would lose the ability to create and have an identity crisis, which is where I am now. Because if I'm not an artist, what am I doing? You know, like, what do I want to do? What is my profession? What would I want to do to provide for my family? Like, I don't know. So eventually I decided that I had to break this cycle that I was in. I decided that I wanted to do something else. I didn't want to rely on art as my main source of income. Because 2020 was also the year of having lots of free time, I decided that I would explore other avenues and explore other ways I could be creative and create things that wasn't art, because I needed some other kind of outlet. I needed to do something. And along the way, I discovered that I love to garden and that I love to make jewelry. If you're struggling, it may be writing, or maybe music, or building funny little robots, you know? Just something that's not painting and drawing, and something that's less personal. At least for me, that is what helped. Because I love my garden, and I love the jewelry that I make, but I don't have the same emotional bond to it. With a painting, I pour myself into it, and I can spend 10, 12 hours working on a piece, and it is me. I'm putting myself into it. And when I would do that, but only because I wanted to make money at it, it began to feel bad. Felt bad. But if I make some jewelry and I put my love into making a little piece of jewelry, I don't feel bad selling it. I don't feel bad creating jewelry to be sold, if that makes sense. I found something that can keep me creative, that people enjoy, which I'm so grateful for that people like my little shiny knickknacks, And it's something that is a lot more sustainable than trying to pour my emotions into a piece of art to commodify and sell it. Making jewelry isn't tied to my self-worth and how I perceive myself, and therefore it is easier for me to actually make it a profession. So I would definitely suggest exploring things and figuring out what brings you joy. What do you enjoy doing? Is it working with your hands? Is it working with your mind? And I do want to quickly say, if nothing brings you joy, if you can't do anything and feel joy from it, that is a sign of depression and you might want to seek help. And I will put some links in the description for depression and anxiety help, because all of this is null and void if you have untreated depression or untreated anxiety. But that is a topic for another video. Ever since deciding that I was not going to make art for the purpose of selling it, I have been drawing so much more. I've been painting and drawing, and I've been enjoying it, like actually enjoying it. Like I want to paint now. Before it was like I would sit at my desk and be like, oh, I need to film a video. And then I would spiral into anxiety and panic because of everything I mentioned before. But now, I sat down and painted this, and I enjoyed it. It had so much fun, and I did it for me. There are so many paintings that I've made that I haven't filmed because I don't have to, and I don't want to. I want to create things that only I will see because I made them for me. I didn't make them for anyone else. I didn't make them to sell. I painted because it's what I wanted to do in that present moment, and I painted what I wanted to. I have painted so many portraits of girls with flowers in their hair. Before, I would have been like, oh, I can't draw the same thing over and over again. People are gonna get bored of it. Now I don't care. If I want to draw a million portraits of girls looking straight into the camera with flowers in their hair, that's what I'm gonna do because it brings me joy, and I don't care if other people like it. And that is so freeing. I feel so free, and like a huge weight has just been lifted off me because I am giving myself the permission to create what I want to. And I'm so privileged because I'm also making money at something else. And I realize that definitely is a privilege, and not everyone else has that privilege. But I just wanted to say it's okay to change directions in life. It's okay to spend 24 years saying I'm gonna be a professional artist and then suddenly saying, you know what, no, I don't want to do that anymore. That's okay. It's also okay to take a break and come back to it. There may be a time where I do want to sell paintings again. It's not now, but it may be in the future, and that would be okay too. It is okay to create art not for the purpose of consumption, but because you enjoy it. Your art does not have worth only because it is consumed by other people. If you are the only person who sees your work, who enjoys your work, it still has value because it is valuable to you. I mentioned before that I grew up thinking that making your passion into a profession was the best thing that you could do. But now I'm here to say that there is no shame in not wanting your passion to be your profession. It's okay to keep them separate, and it may be healthy. I hope my ramblings about my own mental health and relationship with art maybe gave you some insight as well into your own, or gave you something to think about. But that's kind of all I wanted to say in this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. As for making videos, I will make them when I feel like it, is kind of where I'm at. I'm not gonna put myself on any schedule because it stresses me out. I will say that I do really enjoy filming vlogs, so I do want to make more studio vlogs, and I enjoy making art videos sometimes. So I will say that I do feel a lot more inspired to make videos now that I can actually create art in the first place and that I'm enjoying art. So I don't know, I feel like anyone who's still here sticks around regardless, so I appreciate you guys so much. But I think that's going to be the end of my ramblings for today, so thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys!